Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about something that has bugging me for a while, and it's post-concussion syndrome. I've had this for the past about 3 months. I was just diagnosed officially with it yesterday when I went to go see my neurologist. But basically, I'm just going to tell a little bit about my story, some of the symptoms I've had, and what kind of treatments that my neurologist has prescribed for me. Because when I look online, when I had these symptoms, almost all of the information that I found was based on student athletes or students, specifically like football players when they get a concussion in a game or when they get hit really hard. Uh, what kind of steps they take in order to get them back into the game. Same with young students when they, maybe slip and fall or have some sort of head injury, what kind of things that they do in order to get back into school. There's step-by-step kind of instructions for athletes and students, but there's not really any like official, and I know everyone's different, but there's no like official step-by-step thing to do for just the average person. I started doing all this stuff when I got into a car accident. Basically, another car T-boned me on the driver's side, on the left side. So at first, I went to the ER and they diagnosed me with a concussion because right after the accident, the people who came to kind of help me with my car because my car got totaled. I tried getting it off the road so that traffic could go through, but it wasn't moving at all. So initially, apparently, I didn't even recognize the people who were trying to help me. I was just dazed. I wasn't knocked out or unconscious. I knew what was happening because my airbags deployed. There's that smell of the car. That's probably the nastiest part. The smell of like the I don't know if it's the engine or just the impact of just the heat, or I don't know, or the airbags deploying probably. So initially, I just had physical injuries. I had some bruising on my left side, uh, terrible low back pain, tingling in my arm. And that's what I was worried about at first because I didn't know if I had any internal injuries, internal bleeding, if I had any punctured organs. So I went to the ER and they did some MRI, and I didn't have any issues. There was no internal bleeding. My spine was okay. I had some muscle strains, probably just because of the accident. So that's what I was worried about at first. I don't want any of, my lungs to get punctured or my internal organs to have some internal bleeding. But about a week afterwards, after the physical pain subsided, that's when the headaches, the nausea, light sensitivity, forgetfulness, memory loss, hearing sensitivity. I could go on and on. Basically, the classic symptoms, if you look it up online, of a concussion. And so I just thought I had a basic concussion. These things I was told by my primary care provider that after a couple weeks, just rest. Take it easy. Just don't do anything really strenuous. Turn down the lights in your house. Just kind of chill out in bed. Don't do anything that may trigger some of your symptoms. If you do trigger your symptoms, back off, rest a little bit more. And so that's what I did. If there was anything that triggered a headache or nausea, anything, I just stopped. I just took it easy, took a nap, basically just slept off the pain that I was having. And for the most part, that helped me out. But as time went on, I noticed that these symptoms weren't going away. So fast forward to now, it's been about 2.5, 3 months since I've had these concussion symptoms, and they haven't gone away. So some of the symptoms that I've been having, and it may sound familiar to you if you're obviously searching for post-concussion syndrome or concussion issues. Headaches. Now I have two different types of headaches. I would classify them. The first one is like a more dull, not as painful headache, but it's still there, and it's like a 3 or a 4 on the pain scale that they ask you to rate the headaches, and it's just right across the forehead. It's just always there. It's bearable. Advil doesn't help for me, but it's there. The second headache that I get is, I call it the 7 headache because that's what I feel it's like on the scale. That headache is a little bit more on top of my head, and I get these sharp. I kind of described it to my doctor as like a lightning strike, where it hits initially in one spot and then it just spreads out across my head, and that occurs on the top of my head. Pretty rare, but when I have nausea, which is my second symptom, that's when these things occur. Now, I get nauseous. I used to never get nauseous in my life. I would get stomach aches if I ate too much, or, had, maybe food poisoning or something like that. I don't know. I've never had nausea in my life. And now what it feels to me, may be different for you, is like a tightening of my stomach. And then I feel this pressure or tightening. It's hard to describe. This pressure basically coming up from my stomach all the way up kind of into the throat area, and it makes me feel like I have to vomit. No, I haven't vomited since I've had my car accident, but there have been times where I feel like I'm going to vomit because of all this kind of stuff just coming up I'm assuming, digestive tract. And I don't vomit, but my eyes start to water, and that's when I know it's really bad, because it's just coming up. All of this pressure is coming up. It's like a knot in my stomach, and then that's when my big bad headaches start hitting in. Those two things are hand in hand. Once the nausea hits, then the headaches get worse. And then everything from there. Once the nausea hits and the headaches hit, then the light sensitivity comes in. And man, it's been snowing like crazy here, so all the sun's been reflecting off of the snow. It's been super bright. The fluorescent lights at like the supermarket, or at like Walmart, or wherever there's fluorescent lighting, it is just terrible. I'm super sensitive to that. I'm okay with the lights at my house, just like the warm, bright, or no, they're not bright, just the warm, regular lights, I guess. Those are okay. But the sun, the fluorescent light, the snow, any sort of bright light like that, it hurts my eyes, and it makes me dizzy a little bit, and I start seeing stars, especially like around my peripheral vision. Not necessarily when I'm looking straight at something, but it's just around my eyes, and I have these little stars. Sunglasses do help, hats, or I just close my eyes if I have to be in a car when I'm in the passenger seat, because it is terrible. Then the ear sensitivity comes in, and it's not like, it's hard to describe, but it's like a dull ache in my ears. This is pretty infrequent, but it does happen, and it's like I just want to, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a pain. It's like an ear pain. I don't know. It's hard to describe. That happens. Another thing that I experience is the anger, and I'm usually a pretty chill person. I don't get angry. I don't yell. I work as a substitute teacher with little kids, so I've seen it all. You have to be pretty calm for that job, or else you'll just get eaten alive. And so I'm pretty chill most of the time, but when all these symptoms start happening, I get so angry. I want to throw my keys. I want to hit like my pillow. I just want to start going crazy, basically. And it almost feels like it's not uncontrollable, or it's uncontrollable, because once it happens, it's just I just get into like this rage, and it's pretty scary, because I can't help myself. It's like there's nothing stopping me or preventing me from getting this anger. And then this also could be on the opposite side where I get irrationally sad. When I went to the neurologist the other day or yesterday, I got, I was talking about my anger and then I started crying for no reason. So it's the extreme emotional kind of roller coaster. Now, this doesn't happen every day, thank God, but it does happen, and it's really annoying, and it sucks. One of the worst things that gets all my symptoms going is being in a car, which I haven't been able to drive for 2.5 months. Haven't been able to work for 2.5 months, which it is what it is. I'm just going on what the doctors are telling me. So yeah, but when I'm in a car, all the little bumps, if it's just a speed bump or just a slight little area in the road where there's a little bump or there may be a pothole, I could feel, and it sounds weird, I don't know if it's actually happening, but it feels like my brain is just being jostled around. If there's a bump, I feel my brain go up and down. If I go over a pothole, then my brain, it feels like I'm just kind of, the brain is going all around. And that's when the headaches start, the really bad ones, and driving has just been a pain. I actually practiced driving once, just in, my wife was actually taking me somewhere, and I just pretended in the passenger seat like I was driving. So I was, looking at the road, looking at the rear view mirror, the side mirrors, checking my surroundings, basically the stuff that I would do if I were driving, just making sure I'm aware of my surroundings, checking the lights, if there's, just basic driving stuff. And I got so dizzy, so nauseous, it was bad. I couldn't even, I couldn't do it, basically. It was just so painful, and everything came, the anger, the nausea, the headache, it just knocked me out. And so that has been the worst thing, is when I drive or when I exert myself. It's been snowing quite a bit here, and shoveling, we've had like 11-inch drifts of snow, and after shoveling that for about an hour, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just terrible afterwards. Another one of the scary things for me, because I have all my I put all my effort into my education degree, is memory loss and short-term memory loss. For example, I was reading a book like a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. I read a chapter and I was like, what the heck did I just read? I had no clue what the plot, what I read about, what kind of information I was reading about. And I had to go back and reread the chapter because I couldn't remember anything. It wasn't a long chapter. It was, maybe just 10 pages or something. And I could not remember a single thing that happened. And that scared me because, being in education, I need to be able to read, lesson plans and do all this other stuff. And if I forget, I'm screwed. So that one has definitely scared me. Another one that I've had is in my kitchen, and I would go every morning to have just a cup of coffee. I would go to get my coffee, and it's in a separate cabinet, and then I would open the cabinet where all the plates and all the bowls are, where we put them, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on? I thought, the coffee cups were over here, and I get mixed up. I don't remember where things are in the kitchen. Now this varies on day to day. Today, for example, I know where stuff is, but on days where there are some days where I forget. Another kind of, I don't know if it's funny, but I was asking my wife what day it is, my wife was asking me what day it is, and I said February. The day was February, and I was like, wait a minute, that can't be right. February isn't a day. It was Tuesday. And I think the reason I got that mixed up in my mind was because Tuesday is the second day of the week, and February is the second month of the year. And so I thought of those two, and I mixed them up. I don't know why. I'm really good at doing math in my head, like multiplication, addition, division, stuff like that, just because I've done it so much in school settings where the students have to practice, their multiplication facts or division or addition. And so usually I don't even have to, carry the number over and blah, 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 like they have to. So I can just see 7 times 8 is 56. Sometimes I don't even remember doing that. Or if I'm adding, like, I think the example was 19 plus 13. It was like, what the, I couldn't, visualize it in my head. Okay, 3 plus 9, and you carry over that. Okay. I for whatever reason, I just could not do those problems. And I think, for being in education, that's some stuff that you have to, know. And it kind of freaks me out because it's like, okay, this is what I do for a living, and I'm having a hard time doing basic math in my head. And that's what we ask the students to do. So, I feel sometimes I just feel dumb. Memory fog, memory loss. Short term, my wife has had to, write stuff down for me to do in the morning because I'll forget. Sometimes this is where it gets scary. Sometimes I'll forget, okay, did I take my medicine? As some of you may know, I have depression and all that stuff, which has been going fine. But, I got to take my depression medicine. Oh, did I take my depression medicine? I don't remember. I better write this down. Or, okay, did I give my cat his medicine? I don't remember. Should I give him another pill? Should I wait until tomorrow? That's the stuff that kind of freaks me out. So I've definitely had to change my lifestyle to where I have to write this stuff down or else I'll forget. And I used to be someone who had a sharp memory, who would remember, okay, boom, I got to do this then. And oh yeah, I got an appointment there. Now I can't. I just can't do it because I'll forget. And for me, that's the frustrating part because I feel dumb. I feel like I can't do the mental processes that I used to do that I would pride myself on because I was able to, remember this stuff. So anyway, I went to the neurologist, like I mentioned earlier, the other day, and he officially diagnosed me with post-concussion syndrome. So finally, after all this time, it's officially what I have. Now, what he recommended for me to do, and it's been different anytime I go to a doctor. I went to one neurologist who told me, rest. I go to my primary care doctor, rest. My psychiatrist, rest. Now, this neurologist says, push yourself. Go and, exert yourself and then recover for a couple days. And go, challenge yourself to read a little bit more, exert yourself and do, and then recover. Drive, which my psychiatrist said, don't drive at all. Don't drive until the symptoms go away. Because I was telling her, it feels like I'm drunk. I've never had drinking and driving. I wouldn't do that, but it feels like I'm drunk, and then I get behind the wheel, and it's frightening. I don't go on the main. I only drive around my neighborhood, and I don't even want to do that because after about 5 minutes is when the symptoms hit in, and it's way too much for me. So he's telling me though, just drive a little bit more, exert myself more, emotionally, or not emotionally, cognitively, physically, driving, pushing myself a little bit more for exercise, which has been the complete opposite of what everyone has been telling me. So I guess I'm going to be trying that for now. And he also gave me a prescription for headaches. It's called propanol. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but the issue I have with this is that I don't think the headaches is what basically causes all the other stuff. Headaches, aren't, causing the memory loss. I think it's something else in the brain. The headaches do suck, but I think, the nausea for me causes the headaches. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'll make an update video on the propanol. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. It's actually quite a bit of medication, 20 milligrams twice a day for the first week, and then, it'd be 40 total milligrams per day for the first week, and then 80 milligrams for the next week. I think I'd have to look, and this is why I got to write stuff down because I'll forget. One of the other things that he has prescribed to me is going to physical therapy for my vestibular visual issues. Basically, what he explained to me was that when I'm tracking things, I'm having issues, and my eyes, and that's what makes me dizzy. So I'm going to physical therapy. I haven't gone yet. We'll see how that goes. I'm kind of excited to see what kind of stuff that they can do to kind of help me out with this issue, because my vision, when I'm looking at one thing, a lot of things are happening. I shut down. It's just way too much for me to handle. So I'm going to physical therapy for my vision. And then I guess the scary part is that after my initial visit, and then he said about after 2 to 4 weeks of therapies when he wants me to go back into work. Now, luckily, I'm a substitute teacher, so I can pick and choose my days. But what he recommended, and now this is different than what my primary psychiatrist, basically other research that I've done, he says go in for like a half day. I can go in for a half day. Go in for a half day, see how you do, and if it's bad, take 2 to 3 days off. But when I look at some of the other studies and opinions from doctors online or research, they say that if you exert yourself too much, then it's preventing the brain from healing. So I have no idea what to expect. Whether I should exert myself to the limit where I'm have to rest for a couple days, or just continue the rest and go from there, because I don't want this to get worse, for God's sakes. If I'm gonna go to work and it gets worse, then what's the point? So there's a lot of conflicting information out there, and I hope that maybe in this video or in the videos that I plan to make, I can kind of sort through what works for me, and maybe if you're having a similar situation. I know I'm a group on Facebook. If you want to look it up, it's called just post-concussion syndrome, and you should be able to find it on there. A lot of people have gone through similar stuff where we're like, what the heck is going on? Because all of the neurologists and the doctors are telling us all different things, and I guess that's what sucks with the brain, because the brain is so complex. Everyone's brain is different. We all have different chemicals and all that other, I don't know, all that other stuff, and so one treatment may not work for another. So yeah, it's just so complex. It's so frustrating, and it just sucks, basically, because no one really knows how you're gonna get better, and we all want to get better back to our normal lives, because right now I haven't done crap in 2.5 months, and it sucks. So see how that goes. If you have any questions about, or if you just want to share your story, vent, because I know this sucks. Post-concussion syndrome sucks. If you want to just vent, or have any questions about mine, if your story seems similar to mine, leave a comment down below. I'll answer it. And check out that Facebook group online. I've posted on there, and a lot of people do respond with some insightful information that I haven't thought about, because they've gone through a lot of this stuff. Some of them have been going through this for years and years, which really definitely sucks. So they have a lot of information about medications and different therapies. And so I would check that out if you just want like a little community to kind of not feel as alone, because that is the big thing here, is when I look up, everything is about football and sports, and kids going to school, not for just a regular person, 28-year-old. So I hope this video was a little bit educational, as well as, you know, maybe this story, you have some of the similar symptoms. I probably missed a couple because I don't have a script, but yeah, I just hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to be making more videos on this, probably weekly, hopefully. Definitely talking about the therapies that I'll go through, see how this headache medication will go. I don't know, whatever, we'll see. He wanted me to try Botox, and I was like, what? But anyway, I'm just going to keep this updated, just so that I could remember what's going on for me, and then just to share it with you guys who may be you know, having some of these issues. So with that being said, I know this was a long video, probably just ranted on for whatever, but I appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end. If you are suffering from PCS, I hope that you can find something that, you know, makes you happy throughout the day. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated, and I hope that you know, you're having. I wish you success with your treatments and all of the, you know, all of the suffering that you're going through. So good luck, and I'll update you guys in the future. See you later.